You're a keen cyclist, and one of the first things you've done in Parliament is to take up the cause of cyclists. Tell me what you're doing.
Well, I've just become one of the two co-chairs of the all-party parliamentary group on cycling, and our main aim is to do what we can in Parliament to encourage more people to cycle more often. So I'm an ordinary cyclist. I don't wear lycra. I'm trying to turn up for meetings in what I'm going to wear in the meeting, maybe wear a helmet, and want to ensure that cycling is safe and people feel safe cycling. And we need to encourage as much street design improvements as we can, so that there are alternatives to having to cycle down busy main roads or across busy junctions.
So we're outside Brentford Leisure Centre, and this is a good example because this crossing you've just come across is a good example of how things should be, is it not?
Yes, that's right. I use this route across the North Circular at Wellesley Road by the Leisure Centre very frequently to link between Brentford and Chiswick. It keeps me off the A4, except the segregated cycle route. It keeps me away from Brentford High Street and the North Circular itself. It means I'm going either on dedicated cycle paths or quiet roads, and that's made possible by this dedicated cycle junction right outside the Leisure Centre.
But even so, you said you weren't quite clear of the signage?
Well, there was one point at which I wasn't sure whether maybe I should have looked a bit more carefully, but I wasn't exactly sure whether the slip road was green for me or green for the traffic. So, things need to be as clear as possible.
This is also a good example because just around the corner you've got Kew Bridge, and I know there has been at least one fatality there a few years ago. There's nothing really we can do about that, is there? We've got old roads, and when they come down into a bottleneck like a bridge, there's nothing we can do, is there?
Well, there's no doubt that London, especially outer London, is heavily trafficked, and the Kew Bridge junction is a particularly bad example. I think there could be improvements at the Kew Bridge junction. And while we've got the volumes of traffic we have in London, then it's always going to be difficult to find space for cyclists. But if more space was found for cyclists, then fewer people would be in cars or squishing onto buses. People would be cycling more, getting healthier. And I think that road design has got to be a major contributory factor for that. So one thing I want to do is to get a minimum commitment of road infrastructure being spent on cycle and pedestrian improvements to just make the roads safer for people who are not actually sitting behind a steering wheel.
And do you have specific goals in mind?
Well, one of the things we're looking at is a lorry ban or a construction lorry ban in towns and cities at peak hours, because it's all of the fatalities, 7 of the 8 recent fatalities in London this year have been of construction vehicles, basically squashing cyclists, and 6 of those 7 have been women. So issues around construction lorries is top of our priority list at the moment. That and the amount of investment in infrastructure.